Contra Fusion, sí es cierto, nos enfrentamos una sola vez y terminamos ganando 3-0. Yo creo que ahora va a ser un partido más interesante, ya que está valiendo vaga de algo, está valiendo vaga de un presencial. Y yo creo que nada, va a ser un buen partido, los dos vamos a dar la mejor versión de nosotros y puede que nosotros seamos ganadores de ese encuentro.
Sí, solo nos enfrentamos una vez y fue en México y nos ganaron 13-0 y estaban hablando mucho durante el partido, estaban gritando, diciendo cositas, etcétera, etcétera. No cosas malas, pero cosas del juego y bueno, esa revancha la queremos y bueno, ya se dio, la gente verá.
Siento que va a ser el mismo equipo, no cambian los jugadores, no cambia, el plan táctico no cambia y lo único que cambia son las ganas de ganar en el servidor, ya que estamos valiendo vaga para un presencial.
Bueno, nosotros nos hemos enfrentado contra los mejores equipos del torneo ya 3 veces, de Union 2 veces y M80 una vez y literal perdimos el partido por, ¿sabes? Ronda de nosotros, que la perdimos por no comunicarse bien y por no hablar bien y si logramos eso, te lo juro que le podemos ganar a cualquier equipo. Yo confío en mi equipo, yo confío en mí y siempre ha sido así.
Ya tuvimos 3 pérdidas bastante dolorosas que no esperábamos, la verdad, entonces ya estamos más que listos para darlo todo, vivir o morir.
Para mí es un enfrentamiento que yo sí quería venir al centro y jugar contra 9Z porque yo sé que ellos se creen superior y no se preocupen que mañana viene cosita. De parte mía y de parte de mi equipo también. Vamos a estar ready, sí o sí.
One team already eliminated here in VCT Ascension's America, and one more is about to join them as we have another lower bracket run ahead of us. 9Z going up against Fusion. At this point, too, Story, this is actually a rematch that we're about to see, not from Ascensions, but from the BCL LATAM Finals.
Yeah, and then from the LATAM Finals, it was 9Z that actually came out on top with a 13-6 on Pearl, 13-5 on Split, and a 13-3 on Fracture, and the games was like not really that close. I feel like Fusion didn't really put up much of that fight. But like coming in to these Ascension matches though, the only LATAM team that actually has a win under their belt is actually Fusion.
Yeah, which has been honestly a real turnaround, I think, from where we got to see in groups. Because seeing Fusion in groups, I wasn't necessarily 100% sold, but then seeing them in their match here going on in playoffs, sure, they also got knocked down into this lower part, but I feel like we've gotten to see a turnaround in how they performed, which is going to be so key today, because when they did face off last time, honestly, it wasn't necessarily too close. This is a best of 5 between them and 9Z, and 9Z kind of just swept the floor with them.
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like the Fusion that we saw the other day, they're looking a lot stronger. They've shown a new side of them this tournament, and they're looking definitely like more cohesive. They're looking more comfortable. They definitely look like they've figured a lot of stuff out, especially with like the new comps that they're putting out recently. Like they just look like they're so much more put together.
Yeah, and the way they're able to be playing around the comps too. I think when we're looking at Fusion and their interesting comps, maybe the Neon Euro is a little too far for my liking, as much as I love it on a personal note, but it has been really fun being able to watch them bring things out that are a little bit more unconventional, or being able to see how they're able to be pushing this Neon with Verdi and how they're able to get away with things. Because I feel like too, that takes a pretty special way to play around to be able to make comps like that work. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like it takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication, especially when you're doing a lot of off-meta comps. There's not really like ideas that you can look onto other teams who are running similar comps, because this is a brand new comp that you're working on. And seeing the difference of how they played their comps from groups into the actual stages has been like night and day too. They figured out like the timing's a lot better, the way they execute sites a lot better, and Verdi being a really key piece for Fusion. He's been so good on the multi-kills, and that impact on that Neon is insane. Not only is he able to kind of like run in and get the kills as needed, he's also really good at like changing up that pace where he's not always running in. He's able to kind of like slow down and keep up with his team. So it's not always like a vertigo kill. Like the way that he adjusts his pacing is like amazing, and he's just been such a key piece for Fusion.
100%, especially too with the turnaround we got to see, considering that things were a little bit a struggle bus to be starting things off. But then seeing how they're able to be picking up in their first bracket match and how they're able to kind of turn things around, I thought was actually really good for them. And I think that is the biggest thing to give me hope going on for today. The second thing giving me hope is we got Tanner back.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Welcome
You know,
back.
you know,
back.
sometimes things get bumped and I disappear. It's a magic trick over here.
Hey, it's okay. You're back just in time for us to start talking about 9Z over here, because obviously, sure, they haven't necessarily gotten to show us in Ascension so far what they're made of, but obviously this was the team that had a lot of respect going on before that, especially because of a couple of key players, Tanner.
Yeah, and you know, 9Z was a team for me that I thought looked like number 3 after watching all their stuff leading into Ascension, and then, like you mentioned, they didn't really show up. I guess they didn't live up to the expectations that at least I had for them. A big player though, in especially kind of a counterpart in a head-to-head in Latin America for Verdi is Thule, somebody who is helping the team kind of single-handedly develop their compositions. Thule really enjoys playing the Rays. There almost isn't a map that he doesn't play it, and because of that, 9Z has a lot of cool things cooked up. Unfortunately, the rule of cool doesn't always apply in Valorant, so it hasn't been working, but there's a lot of stuff. I really hope today we get to see all of this 9Z playbook.
100%, especially too if Julie's more so kind of leaning on the Rays end of things. Well, then that does mean that somebody else has to pick up the reins of the Jet in those kind of couple of moments where you might want to need to see that. And sorry, in those cases, we've gotten to see Koida actually be picking that up and actually look really good.
Yeah, I feel like Rup Koida is kind of a key player for them as well. With him on the Jet, I feel like compared to his Sky, I feel like there's a lot more impact that you can see on his Jet compared to his Sky, and it kind of like shows in the statistics here too. Obviously, when you're on Jet, your ACS is going to be a lot higher, and I like that, you know, you can kind of like see the difference in night and day, like how much impact he has like on the Jet compared to his Sky. Not to say that his Sky is bad, but I'm just saying like his Jet just seems like there's just more to it and there's more impact in there.
And to add to that point quickly, I would think for today, an elimination matchup, obviously feeling comfortable because they've already beat Fusion once. I would love to see maybe the maps lean a direction where Rup Koida can feel comfortable, right? Put him on an agent where he's able to get lots of value, because he's not a Jet player. If you look at his stats, it's not like, you know, 1,100 Jet games or rounds, and then he just had to fill Initiator or Sky here for this team. It's just an agent that he likes to have fun on, and he does really well. So I would love to see maps maybe swing that way.
But if we're going to go back to agents and fun, I feel like this is where we start talking about Fusion again, because what we've gotten to see from them going on in Ascension has always kept us on our toes with a couple of really unconventional picks, Tanner, that honestly, if they can catch the opponent off guard, that'd be huge, especially considering this is the rematch and how things went down last time.
This is very exciting, too, to see the smiles and the laughs on the faces for this team coming into a matchup against a team that they just got 3-0'd pretty handedly. They're feeling obviously very confident, and I think we've seen their coach get animated for this Fusion squad as well. I think the thing that stands out most is everything that they've been cooking or anything that they may have been hiding, they've brought it all out. The comps that you talked about, Sierra, bringing in the Neon on basically everywhere the Jet should be played. Verdi's been playing the Neon. Yeah, this is a very exciting Fusion team right now.
And looking at the other end going on against 9Z, I feel like when we're looking at the team that has the pressure on them, there's going to be pressure all around. This is elimination. But as well, considering how things have gone down for 9Z before, having 3-0'd Fusion before, but also the fact that they are winless so far going on in Ascension story, I feel like the pressure has to be building here.
I feel like the pressure definitely is on, but I think if you're a 9Z, you think, hey, like we've played them before. They, we obviously like know how they play. They're kind of used to like this team's tendencies, so they may be not feeling that much pressure. I mean, it is still pressure because it is an elimination match, but I feel like this is an opponent that is familiar to them.
And I'm excited to see then how that is going to be shaking up, because the rematches that we get to see from when players and teams were trying to qualify for Ascension, we already had that delivered to us with M80 in the guard yesterday. So it'll be exciting then, Tanner, going on ahead of this matchup for how that'll play out, especially too, they have the tape, they have the info, they played each other. So going into our map picks and bans, you have to imagine that has to lend a little bit of something to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Map picks and bans. I'm wondering if we see Fusion maybe challenge some of the maps that they played previously and bring in the new comps that they've whipped up. Split is one that we saw in that last matchup again for 9Z, a very, very strong map.
And Fusion going to be picking up Ascent. So we didn't get to see this in the pool last time because it was actually banned in the finals by Fusion. So it'll be intriguing to see how things are going to be playing out there as the rest of the bands coming on through. So Starry, Haven as the decider.
Yeah, I feel like I like this Ascent pick, and I like it because, like, I wonder if we're gonna see like new comp ideas coming out from like Split and Ascent. Obviously, we know their Ascent comp was like new. They've never really played like a Neon Breach, Viper, Sage, Brim comp before. So I'm wondering if they're gonna pull out a new comp for Split as well. Because, you know, I feel like they're just getting so creative with it. I would love to see them do something different once Split, especially because the last time they played, it wasn't as successful.
I like the cheeky comps, but you can't go too far out there and maybe play away from what you know, because as fun as the Neon Yoru was that we got to see on other maps here, Tanner, it was also something that didn't necessarily prove to be the most successful Fusion.
Yeah, we did see, we saw glimpses of hope. Fortunately, we won't see that here. I do wonder if the Fusion way is to change things.
Oh, there it is. The Yoru? Okay, the Yoru Neon comp?
So are they just on every map just gonna slam this comp, right? Because isn't this is also their Ascent comp. This is close to the Pearl comp, although we don't get it. So like, I mean, this right here, yeah, Fusion Esports, they threw the book out the window. They're just doing whatever they want.
Honestly, they heard you say, yeah, it doesn't relate for this map. They're not picking this up. And they said, you know, Tanner, bet, honestly. Not sure how I liked the look of these two before, but hey, if they're bringing it out here at this point, there has to be some confidence in it. So I'm not going to wait any longer. I want to see how this is going to go down. Dust, shift over to you.
Oh yeah, this is what we'd like to see, a little spice, a little fuego, a little picante sauce coming over the top of Split. I don't know what I'm going on right now, but who knows what Fusion's going on right now. But Tanner is right, this is the same comp that they play during Ascent, so maybe, who knows? I don't know. Okay.
Here.
I got to be Dustin Mucho there. What I was going to say is I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I think considering how much they got pummeled last time, obviously something needed to change. So fair enough.
All right, well, it's 9Z on the offense first. Quick hit over on towards the B side. There are defenders that are nearby. Theory trying to find some contact, but no, it's going to be 9Z with the 3-for-1 exchange. A couple of players still falling in, and well, that will be it. Only a couple of kills tallied, and 9Z off to the races with the opening pistol.
Yeah, of course, the history has already been talked about between these two teams by our desk, but just to kind of reinforce it, you know, 9Z did ultimately beat Fusion 3-0 in the overall Latin America finals. They didn't allow them more than 6 rounds in any of the maps that got played in that series, so a very dominant win for 9Z. I will say, though, the only map that will be common between today and when they last faced off is this map Split. So 9Z obviously picking this map, obviously very confident on this map. They love the double dive of the Rube Koida Jet with the Thule raise. And let me tell you something, Rube Koida, you don't get to see him play Duelist too often. When you do, it's something special.
Yep, it's kind of like the Nismo effect for M80 in a way.
Yep, I couldn't have said it better myself, Chip.
All right,
very similar.
I'm here for you. Trailblazer comes out, Thule goes in, love you too. Tank Shells will also follow up as the Flash will try to provide some sort of entry, but to be honest, Fusion's holding their ground pretty darn nicely. Theory still playing just underneath ropes, hoping for a place to hopefully pick up a freebie. Not going to happen though, and 9Z after dropping the first blood will have no problem cleaning up afterwards with the superior weapons.
Yeah, and again, like last series, this series, it's going to be fireworks from start to finish. Both these teams are very fast-paced teams. In fact, a lot of the teams in this tournament just seemingly are that way, just like to play very aggressive play styles, and these two teams are no exception. So, again, expect to see a lot of early round skirmishes, just like you saw in the M80-0-0 match. The one thing I will say, and this is something that you're probably going to share in, is looking at the film between these two teams and they played within their respective regions, while they both played a faster paced play style, I thought 9Z was more refined. You know, when I was like, it seemed like they, similar to 0-0 Nation, they just seem to have like good coordination, good team play. Their timing and spacing is usually very good. And they just generally seem more optimal in playing the fast-paced play style. Fusion looked a lot sloppier. At times they looked like they just with YOLO stuff and like they just seemed disjointed. But when we saw them play earlier in Ascension, they looked like a whole new squad. They looked so much better. Exactly, in the round 1 of the playoffs where they got the win over 0-0 Nation. So I'm hoping that improvement carries over to today is my point, and that we get a closer matchup.
Yeah, it didn't quite show up yesterday in their matchup, but yeah, definitely need to see signs of that because they were statistically better across just about every single category. And a lot of that did come between the duality of Verdi and Darker. And that was when Darker was playing on the Breach. So you know, this double duelist, it hasn't really worked out too well for them, especially considering that the combination of Neon and Yoru, they often bottom frag on it, although Verdi will open things up with a little slide on in towards site. Chance to kind of break this down from the back, but the problem here is that 9Z are setting up their post plant largely at B main with Rube, just trying to play contact in this site, tucked in the corner, but he gets shut down. So now this double stack deep in towards main needs to find success. David, the last one left, and it's Verdi for 3 in the round as Adu will confirm the defuse.
Yeah, kind of talking about Darker, as you said, prior to this tournament, the man was essentially a guy who either was playing Omen or he was playing Breach. And that's pretty much the only 2 agents he played. So to see him make this pivot into playing a Yoru, which again, we've already saw in a couple of other maps in this tournament, I think Ascent being one of them, to see them carry that over into a map where double duelist works, right? But usually it's the Jet Raze combo, like you're seeing the opponent 9Z play. To see a Neon Yoru combo is certainly a lot more interesting. I actually don't, the only thing I don't like about it is I think you got to pick one or the other. I think Raze is just too vital on this map. Like with all the close quarters, with the value that you can get out of paint shells and Boombot, I just would have liked to have seen them probably still bring Raze in, and then you play one of Neon or Yoru if you want to change things up and not play a Jet.
That's fair. Well, it's definitely a unique look, to say the least. Sure. As you get into the full gun round here, it will be 9Z trying to take some mid control, and Adu just blind peeks it and gets his head peeled off in this double stack of duelists towards A. Are going to have to make a decision quickly of, do we push forward or do we back in towards site? Because you don't want to get stuck with these 2 agents in particular on ramps. And they will try to sniff things out, but there are trap wires holding back this defensive aggression.
Yeah, again, Rubcoida, the guy who's the flex of this team, with Tuli being the main duelist. But again, when he gets to be on Jet, he is fantastic. And a brilliant opening pick there at middle. And they're going to use this to potentially set up a B split here. You can see them gearing up inside main, looking to push their way forward. They are going to spot the Viper in the back of the pillar. They're going to run him down.
Tuli does get on towards side. Oh, what a good pull that is. And then Tuli turns it into a double, responding to meted through rope side. So Gravity Well locks one in place. The better shot to take down the second. And now all of a sudden, Fusion will likely just have to sit here and save.
And again, that's what I was talking about their coordination with their utility. I mean, the fact that they satcheled in onto the Viper, Theory, stunned him, then Gravwelled him right afterwards. I mean, it's just brilliant timing where it's never a situation where Tuli feels like he's stranded. Like, he's always getting good support. And obviously he has Rubcoida right there with him.
Yep.
To dive in if need be, which of course in that situation Rubcoida was kind of playing more of a mid lurk into B heaven as kind of a insurance policy if need be to backstab, but it was never required. Blinded. As Tuli winds up just doubling up really quick there. They're gonna run down these weapons, but Darker gonna do a good job at elbow to hold on to this weapon he's trying to save.
This is pretty punishing here for a full gun round, but never mind.
Yeah, never mind. It was almost very punishing, but now no weapon save. But there are some alts on the board. And there might not be anything more annoying and scary than a Yoru ult, honestly. I mean, just look at how well that was timed.
Yeah, it really was.
Then Meated's legs get spotted. Thighs too thick.
Clear skies and thick thighs, right?
Save lives, baby.
Indeed.
Except for
right there when it actually cost him his life, yeah. Opposite's true. A lot of ultimates to tally coming into this round. In particular, Verdi's got the finger guns out.
I've got your
He's going to try to clear things out over towards A. Gate crash will allow Darker to quickly rotate back over to B. He does have the dimensional drift, but I wouldn't expect to see it in this round. 9Z quick on their approach. Great stuns on sight. Thule just completely breaking ankles, and he actually turns it into a double. But still, maybe a chance for Verdi to clean up some kills towards B Tower with the overdrive, but not quite going to work out. Needed now by himself. Does have a Vandal, and he's dangerous, but whoa. Showstopper?
Oh, no, Thule.
What?
Thule.
Never had a doubt.
Shame.
Let's keep it going.
For shame.
What did he think was going to happen right there? I'm confused by that.
I almost feel like he must have just slipped the key.
Had to have.
I can't imagine that was on purpose. Otherwise, if it was on purpose, that might be the worst showstopper I've ever seen in my entire life.
We can do this.
It's one or the other. I would go ahead and plead the fifth if I were him.
That's fair. Well, interesting to say the least. We're back to a full gun round here for Fusion. Orbital Strike and still that Dimensional Drift is at the ready. I'll be really curious to see how Darker tries to use this Yoru. So far, it's just been a little bit of pressure on the outsides, and then if he doesn't see anything, he's gate crashed back to safety, but I don't know.
Definitely could see it used for intel on a retake situation to like kind of slip in, see where people are playing, post plant from, maybe try to make a little surprise play, create disturbance to free up your teammates to get into space. So definitely can be some value. Just have to figure out the appropriate time to deploy it, as we are going to see 9Z doing a little bit of a feint at B with the Sky utility, but certainly gathering up for the execute here.
Yep, Cybercade
They will bypass Ramp's defense.
Yep, I was gonna say all that Ramp's potential peak, but Fusion are still looking to hit this through a Ramp side. Verdi, relay bolt out, doesn't quite catch anybody, so he misses his chance at a free first kill. Thule runs right forward, and goodness, the Dimensional Drift was spent here, but 9Z are so deep that Darker's gonna try to split the difference, and he gets himself in and then immediately gate crashes out. Very well played. Spike now kind of stuck over towards the defensive side. Knives not gonna land. Oh my goodness, what did we just watch? Rube Koina stays alive on 2 health, and in the process, 9Z continue to capitalize on a couple of kills, although with Rube low and Verdi still in a very defensible position, there's a chance he can still hold this, and time is a huge issue here. 9Z making their way on, but that kill turns the tides. A plant will come through in theory. We'll have to try to jump into a 1v3, and he will not get through the first.
A little worried for Rube Koina there. He kind of just slammed his head up against the wall on that dash, trying to get the spike to the site. Imagine if Jet took self-damage from plowing in the walls like that. Tough.
That would be tough.
Great play here from Thule, slipping in, grabbing Beat's head. I don't know what this was.
I have no
to be
idea.
Quite frank, either. There was a lot of things that went wrong there, but in the end, 9Z able to hold on, putting together a fantastic attacking half right now. They are really making this look just as dominant as their previous meeting was on this map, honestly.
Well,
it's very much deja vu. Different comps, but deja vu.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're making this radical comp from Fusion look just not it. I hate to say it. And the thing about it is, like, when we watch them play, again, this is kind of a hybrid between what they play on Ascent and what they played on Pearl. With the Neon and Yoru combination. And the thing is, when we watch this team play on Pearl with this combo, it's just like, it's just not finding value. And the breakdown
again, that's why I think you still needed to raise in this comp.
I think so too. It's just, I guess I'm just kind of curious of what the intention is of how you play Darker and Verdi together, because, you know, they've gone to this Yoru Neon very regularly, and it's just like, it never feels like it pays off. It's low kill tallies from both your duelists. To be fair, they're playing more of a selfless entry role, but still, it's just like the value's just not there in my mind.
It's also a situation where Thule's raise is so much better than his Neon. I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at look at the last 3 months and notice the ACS difference between the two, it's not even close. So yeah, I understand, like, last time you tried to play normal and you got crushed, so you're trying to change things up, but there is a limit to the madness, I think.
I agree.
On how much of a curveball you can try to throw. My God.
Yeah, Thule first blood. Verdi. Oh boy, he actually takes the benefit of a late stun to turn it into 2 kills. So that does shut down the play through B main. And we'll have a 3v4 from here on out where, yeah, you still have weapons, but map control is a bit of a question mark right now for 9Z, although they do have a Cosmic Divide to rapidly change that.
Yeah, and of course I meant Verdi, not Thule, when I was saying the difference between the Neon and Raze. My mistake there, but you get my point.
We'll check here.
Yep.
as the hit towards B Tower looks to be pretty inevitable. Mizu just flashing to make sure no one's over to the top of ropes. Now it's down to clearing out the site itself. Fusion, orbital strike will try to help them here. Birdie gets a third. Hold on a second, still alive, if not hit up hard. And Adu turns it in now all of a sudden to David for a 1v3. Gets the first, no worries. Birdie's down to a single point of health, essentially.
Left.
But the problem is Theory's above this play, and his timing could be everything, and there it is. How about it? Fusion will take an eBay Thrifty to get their second.
That is an important round to get to because it seemed like 9Z was just full steam ahead. Again, last time these two teams met, I believe the half was 9-3 in favor of 9Z starting on the attack, and it was a similar kind of timeline to this one where they went up 5-1. There was a timeout. Fusion responded with a defensive round. It went 5-2, and then after that, it was a 4-round winning streak for 9Z, and it was Fusion winning the final round of the half to make it 9-3. So we'll see if this one plays out similarly or not. And certainly 9Z overall have looked very strong on this map. That's a great thrifty victory for Fusion to kind of linger around this half, try to stay in the fight.
Level the terms just a touch. Rolling Thunder is now also at the ready here defensively as there is a heavy stack around mid. Would give you the insinuation that Fusion will use that Rolling Thunder to retake as both sites are completely cleared. There's the gate crash back over. Birdie, wow, okay, just a raw peek comes out. The fake out actually kind of works out for a moment here. Kind of forces 9Z's hands just a touch, and everything will kind of reset as Fusion will be happy to take a 5v4 the rest of the way.
Yeah, and one of the big entry tools for 9Z is off the board very quickly with Thule being down and Rube Koida having an op, which kind of limits the way he's able to be aggressive on taking sites. Now he is holding a really nice angle on the A site, slowly working his way in, which is opening up the potential pinch play through A Heaven, but Verdi is keeping tabs on this and might be able to shut it down. Just weaves past that op shot, spots Mizu's barrel.
Wow, the pre-fire works out for one, but that's all he'll get. Once again, figure that Adu is going to reposition and try to use this Rolling Thunder as a tool for retake. The spike is not technically even on yet, so a bit of caution here from 9Z in the 3v4. And needed will further the problem. So now it's a 4v2 situation. Rube's stuck with an operator. David's wondering where exactly he needs to plant this. Rolling Thunder will be called out. Both players will be affected by this, but there is not any initial follow-up. A chance for Fusion to get down to the low ground. Rube will drop. David by himself now, stuck in the corner. And Darker will just kind of juggle weapons, forcing some heroics from David, who will not be able to do anything more. And how about a 5-3 tally now?
Yeah, really well done there. They're really patient with when they use Rolling Thunder. They've really burnt the clock, never allowed, 9Z to get in good post-plant positions. They locked them on site, stunned them both. At that point, all David could really do was just try to play inside one of his smokes and hope for the best, but to no avail. So really well done from Fusion. Great play up in A Heaven in particular. Then again, great kill from Adu. Great use of Rolling Thunder. And so this time around, they're going to keep this one closer. Not let it get out of hand early.
It's still just one of those things, like, I'm waiting to see where the Yoru and Neon fit into the picture. Because right now, it just feels like they're just winning gunfights. It doesn't feel like strategically they're gaining an edge with these two duelists.
It might create a little bit of faster rotation power. Like,
well,
just
sure,
the
with
speed
the
at
gate
which you
crash
can rotate.
especially,
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that is a little bit of a part of it. Obviously, the decoy of the Yoru that allows them to be challenged certain areas a little bit, the peek off of it, use it as bait, so to speak. So, I mean, there's a couple of, like, little things here and there, but I still don't know that it trumps the value that arrays would bring to the table.
Sure.
But we'll have to see how it plays out whenever we switch sides to the attack. I mean, I think that's going to be
Yeah, that has to be the key,
tell.
right? Yeah.
But at the very least, yeah, I think there's something to be said about Yoru being able to rotate more quickly with this teleport, and then obviously it's all being used for information on retakes.
Well, 9Z is going to discuss it, obviously, on the timeout, see what they want to do as they find themselves in a little bit of hot water. Just a Guardian in light armors amidst the rest of the ARs. No ultimates to spare at the moment for 9Z. Rube's having a hell of a game, by the way. 11-3 to start. It seems like you kill him, you win the round if you're Fusion.
Yeah, if you can get him and Thule off the board, that's usually good news, as Thule able to get past the stuns, but the peak is still good from Fusion. Darker comes out on top there.
Yeah, nice Nice little relay bolt and then flash combination. Okay, let me eat my words real quick. That'll work. Verdi's gonna come away with 2 off the reload, not able to finish off Mizu, who will clean things up, earn Seekers, and allow a chance for this 2v2 to gain some info while the spike makes its way onto site.
Yeah, David able to get into heaven because of the Seekers and knows that one is back hauls. He's going to hold an angle. Is he going to push it even further is the question. He's kind of separated from his teammate here.
Oh, gosh.
He's going for it. Oh, what a play.
That is such a bold challenge. I think a lot of people would sit there and say there's no reason to, but he catches timing perfectly. And like you said, now you can just split this post-plant play together. David will drop one more star on top of the spike just in case they need the power of the vacuum. Meathead trying to clear, and he does at least take care of Cubby for now. Problem is, he is completely lost for information elsewhere. So one smoke will drop, another still to spare, plus you still have a molly to try to clear space, but this is taking too much time, and Meathead has no designs on trying to play for the 1v2.
Yeah, good start to the round from Fusion, but what a cleanup from Mizu to get him back into it. Obviously a big heads-up play from David pressing back hauls as well. I mean, that certainly helped, but Mizu kind of the hero there because ultimately Fusion shut down the initial ramps play. I mean, they did a great job shutting Thule down. But Mizu making big things happen there. Had a quiet game overall, but that was a huge moment at just the right time to keep 9Z out in front. Things are starting to get close. Kind of keep that stiff arm out there, holding the separation. And this is one of the rounds that they look the most disjointed, 9Z. Like, yeah, Root Koida seemed kind of out on an island there when he jumped in. The ramp push wasn't there to support him. It was one of those rare situations where usually 9Z are very coordinated and very good with their spacing, and that time they kind of got blown apart a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit surprised that for Fusion, once you use the majority of those relay bolts in blind spots, that you just kind of take your W, play the 5v3 retake, or 5v4 retake, I guess it was what it was technically. As this time early action starts to come over towards Mail, Mizu, Edu trade, so we go to a 4v4 early. And 9Z will take one extra step with this Trailblazer to see what's on site, which at the moment there's nothing. Fusion have backed up, but again, they have the dimensional drift at the ready here.
I'll handle this.
And that will be spent immediately as they will try to get an idea as far as where everything is up top. Relay bolt being spent, but David's still able to take down Verdi. And do what you want while you're in the dimensional drift, but eventually you gotta bounce out of it, and they will at least isolate Dagara. So now 3v3 we go, no more ultimate to spend on either side for the time being. Adu drops in, David does get traded, and now it's down to Mizu to try to hold alongside Thule up top. Theory gets the first, just needs a single shot or even the snake bite to land. We'll toggle the spike for now. It's gonna force the check from Mizu, but the second toggle will give a little bit more time and space, and Mizu changes up the angle and catches Theory off guard to get to 7.
Another fight?
Mizu really having a good time of it. As Sky's actually only a recent agent for him, I kind of wanted to point that out. This guy normally played a lot of Sentinels and Viper, and he would even sometimes play some Chamber on Haven and Ascent, which is something that not a lot of people were doing, particularly when, you know, Chamber was in that pre-buff state he was in earlier this year. He was still kind of making it happen, and he was putting up really good numbers. I mean, statistically speaking, he was like top 5 in his region playing the Sentinels and the Viper, but to see him, you know, start converting into playing a little bit of Sky here recently, he's had a couple of big rounds.
Another overdrive play over towards A in combination of Darker. This time it's 9Z holding back. It's just Dagara, actually, who will take down both, and now 9Z will use their numbers to flood on forward, beat it in their way, though. Clean opener, plus the molly to create some space. Cosmic Divide also going to try to reinforce just a touch. Apparently that's the blades out for Rube. Saw the Viper's wall, thought it was a Cosmic Divide initially, my bad. Theory will actually take that as a chance to isolate a 1v1. And now the full hit's on the way in. Blades are not good. Adu's still holding strong, and no, does not get the better of Mizu, who will follow up with the second as the Seekers will allow a chance to plant.
Spike planted.
Yeah, 2-on-1. A lot of weight on Dagara's shoulders as he's the one that has the higher HP. Mizu gets caught out in the open there by Theory, and so Theory now has the 1v1. A lot of these clutches have gone 9Z's way. Fusion needs one of them to happen. Yep. Could it be now?
Dagara on the cross. Oh, what a shot from Theory. Didn't quite get the perspective I think we were looking for, but doesn't make a difference. Still is able to pull the head off right as Dagara goes for the check, and a key round 11 goes the way of Fusion to get them onto 4.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. Comes down to kind of a tense moment to make it happen, but it does happen. Man, oh man. Some of these rounds have come down to the wire, haven't they?
They sure
the majority
have.
of the time it has gone 9Z's way in the clutch situations. You know, Mizu's had a couple of big moments, for example, but that time around it's finally going the other way. A little bit of smack talk between the two. Again, both these teams very familiar with each other, having played each other in the LATAM finals.
Oh, yeah. Showstopper out. Thule not going to need it to clear out A, though. It's completely open. So he'll likely send this thing up top or towards screens. And it will go up top. No one going to be hit by this, though. Should lead to a very easy plant. Degar is going to be the first contact up top to deny defense, or at least that's the attempt to deny defense A tower. Trapwire will drop. Degar going to hold a corner. Paint shells change the focus, and oh my goodness, how perfect was that little bait and switch between Degar and Thule. Theory and Adu trying to work their way on from screen side. Theory's able to get one. The snake bite down. Cosmic Divide does provide a bit of a distraction, but Theory is able to turn that into a second elimination and find a pretty fresh weapon off the ground. Gravity Well, oh, just kind of denies the angle. And Degar will get 3 in total as 9Z will take an 8-4 half.
Yeah, so not quite as dominant as their first meeting on Split in the LATAM finals, but pretty close. Just a 1-round difference. 9Z still well ahead. Up 8-4 this time instead of 9-3. Of course, 9Z, again, both these teams were kind of 50-50 on Split, just generally speaking, outside of the head-to-head matchup. And so with that said, neither resume is like crazy impressive, but what I will say about 9Z is that their defense on this map has usually been quite strong. It's normally been the attacking side that has failed them whenever they've taken losses on this map within their region. So now that they already have a really nice start going into their defense, which is their stronger side, certainly bodes well for them.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, regardless of previous history, anytime you pull 8 rounds on the offensive split, you're going to feel pretty good. But as we kind of mentioned, this is where you would think that Fusion's composition would lean towards advantages. The early fake out gets up towards A, but it has not fooled anybody from 9Z. They'll let that exist a little while longer, but it does keep the defense interested in A a while bit. And there's that gate crash. Good look from the observing team as David will try to lock things up and play a little bit of trigger discipline. Won't work out, and Fusion will get their entrance into A, or pardon me, into B.
Yeah, they will. Spike goes down, and they have a 5-on-3 post fight. A couple of players are low on HP, sure, but 9Z really have no footholds. They've been blocked off in every which direction. They have not been given anything but Rube Koida. A little bit of skeet shooting there on Theory as he was jumping up and down. That's going to go between the eyes. That's going to give them 1, but they're running out of time.
Yeah, sure are. Rube trying to clear things out. Degar goes straight entryway. No, not like this. Adu gets a lot of damage. He connects twice onto headshots, but it doesn't matter. Mita's got a frenzy at extreme range. Not what you want in the face of Ghosts and Sheriffs, and that is a 3v4 retake?
Shift.
Oh, boy.
How did that happen, Shift? I mean, I know I'm supposed to be the analysis color commentator guy, but I figured I'd give you a shot here.
Yeah, here you go. You ready for it?
Yep, I'm ready.
Shoot gun good, people die hard.
All right, so I'll stick to play-by-play casting it is. Okay, gotcha. All right, just wanted to see, you know, I figured maybe we would try things a little bit differently this time around, and, well, I got the result I expected, to be honest, so.
Because the thing is, you know,
it was just shoot guns good.
It really was, because you jump peek a corner on pillar, Rube hits an incredible shot. You have a crossfire set up through dirt. Degar predicts it perfectly, hits a headshot, and then you've got a frenzy left B main. That's pain.
That's tough. That's what we like to say. You hate to see it, I think is another good expression to explain it.
Sure.
Although I have no skin in the game, so personally, don't truly care. I just want to see good VALORANT, so.
Wow. So 9-4 economy flips instantly. Fusion now all of a sudden kind of stuck in a position to where they need to start to collect some shoot gun good skills. Shots coming out. Not quite going to work out for either squad as the Boombot will make sure no one pushes up in towards Mail. Rube taking an advanced position through sewers, and he may cut this rotation off. Does he catch the timing? Finds one, sees the little jump off the ropes and says, nope, I'm good. I'll back out, keep my life, and we'll go 5v4. Action still on the way, though. As Verdi tries to get aggressive over towards A-sided ramps, we'll have to pause for a moment here. Spam from Degara also coming up a bit empty, but the action seems pretty inevitable here at A tower. Small contact for Theory
30
and
seconds
Thule
left.
likely as soon as his trap wire gets broken, but there's another one down low, and Thule has all the information you could possibly want with this rifle. Yep, there it is. 2 kills come through, third stuck in the corner, tries to predict the crossfire, but doesn't make a difference. It's Mizu to clean things up, and a Zenny flawless comes out, and all of a sudden 9Z are off to the races.
Nowhere in sight.
Wow. It starts to get to a point where if you're Fusion, some questions need to be answered about what exactly we're trying to get away with this composition. Obviously, it's pretty bold, and it kind of feels like yesterday in a way where we're just trying to keep our opponent off guard for whatever they may have planned against us. But at the moment, it really hasn't quite worked out, I think, as designed. Full weapons here, though, but a pretty significant bonus, if you want to call it that, for 9Z, as Verdi will once again get aggressive towards A ramps, but it's instantly traded, and we'll jump into a 4v4 here, Dust.
Indeed, we shall. A critical round that Fusion needs to come up with before 9Z just get too far ahead. They do have some good A ramps control here. Spike not committed, could still go either way as it sits in sewers. They have some presence towards B main. Although David is playing a forward angle there. Now we have a little bit of a push ski. And, not going to pay off, but Thule gets the trade.
Theory does try to force a second engagement, gets punished for it. Would have stayed into a 4v3, but now it's still level. And Darker may be the difference maker. Dagara, possibly aware of this, though, has his gun up and is waiting. Oh, the timing is just perfect before Darker can get to screens. So now Adu feels like he's got to try to force this play forward. Thule playing in the back cubby. Adu checking and will find the headshot. No trade imminent. As the fault line gets sent out, Adu will get the plan off for the 2v2.
Indeed, he will. He'll play elbow position. He does have his rotation from Meathead over towards ramps. They'll be able to get inside the site together. Smokes blocking Heaven, buying a little bit of time to reposition. Dagara and David looking to play this one together. There are upgraded weapons on the field. They don't want to make the noise.
Yeah. Trapwire will at least allow them to isolate this touch, knowing that these last 2 members are on site. But like you mentioned, one Vandal will be collected now by David. First check from Dagara. Whoa, my goodness. Those are some clean Spectre shots at range. And David will finish it off, leaving plenty of time for the defuse, and 9Z will get to 11.
9Z, aim good. Big, McLarge, huge. Please tell me you got that. Somebody out there.
I haven't seen that video in so long.
Man, that is a throwback.
That is a throwback.
We're so old.
Yep. Big McLarge.
Didn't they make a comeback though, Mr. Science Theater?
I think they did. I actually
I want to say they did.
I got like a box set for my birthday a couple of years ago. It was worth it, I'll tell you that much.
Oh man. I mean, it is getting to a point where some of these rounds are coming through just sheer brute force. Like the retake on the pistol to kick off this half, brute force. That round right there, pretty much brute force, if we're honest. Like, Fusion definitely seem to be having some good ideas about manipulating the map and getting in and getting spikes down and like putting themselves in positions where they could pull off victory, but sometimes 9Z just pulls the gloves off and say, hey, this game, sometimes it's just about where the crosshair hits.
Yeah.
And they're doing a pretty good job about placing it in the right places and the right times and then clicking their mouse and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Accurate analysis.
I try. I really do.
Yeah.
I put a lot of time into that.
Could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so kind of do or die time here for Fusion.
True.
At least for map number 1. Still plenty of series to potentially go on as their map selection comes up next. But I think the thing is, we're likely going to see pretty much the same composition for Ascent. So
yep.
These small combinations of abilities will be pretty predicted, I would say, next time around.
Oh, that's a nice little entry there from Meathead. Player still on site. Will they be spotted? It's Mizu. Oh my God, he gets 2.
That is just enough for Mizu. Now sending it to a 3v3. Rube does have an operator, though, for this retake. No ultimates at the ready here for the offense. While the spike gets planted, Adu will earn the Rolling Thunder and immediately spend it. Oh my goodness, booped above everything! David booped above everybody! They didn't check high! That's the only place they needed to look! There's no way, dude!
Please tell me we replay that. No, please tell me. I need to see that again. They just forgot about David getting launched into the air by the ult. Well, the man was just free falling, dude.
I don't think you could forget about it. You just didn't see him. Like,
He was so up there, man. I mean, the guy's vert was like unbelievable off of that. It's like when you get the double bounce on the trampoline and you get way too high and you get scared. You're like, oh no, this is not going well. But then
How
David
do we not
just
have a replay of that? No,
please,
dude,
I've never needed a replay more in my life than I need that right now. Please. No? Unlucky.
Please, somebody clip that and send it to Reddit so you can watch it back.
Yeah, please, and tag us in it or something. Oh boy, that's a good entry. That's another one.
Quick aggression. Dagara playing inside of a cyber cage. Would have to do one versus everybody. He gets the first. They may line up here, but that was the fake out. Doesn't matter. He takes down the real one as well. Now to the neural theft. Uses the aftershock as a separator, but ultimately he does create enough time and space for 9Z to make their way back over. Seeker lands onto Adu, but Thule's not in a position to follow up on it, and we'll get the 1v1. Thule dropping on in. Both players below full HP. Timing for Adu, we thought was good, but I don't know where he's looking. And Thule puts him on map point with the finish.
Man, there was at least 3, maybe 4 rounds where it just seemed like Fusion should have won the round. They seemingly had the advantages, and then somehow, some way, 9Z would find a way to crowbar their way back into the round and find victory. I mean, they stole some rounds away in that game. Let me tell you what, at least 2 or 3 in that second half alone looked like they should have been over. And then somehow, like a rabbit out of the hat, they pull some magic off and reel it in. I mean, holy cow. Like, it just seemed like they were destined to win the map no matter what went wrong.
And the thing about it is the composition for Fusion should have been the brute force composition with Neon Yoru in the mix. You would have thought it would have been all speed, all aggression, very heavy-handed approaches, but man, I think the thing about it is, doesn't it kind of feel familiar, like in a way that is not necessarily positive, or like this feels more like the Fusion from group stage where they're trying to force things in, not quite fully working out. It didn't really feel like the calm and collected, disciplined team that we saw in the upper bracket round 1 matchup versus 0-0 Nation. And I don't know, man, it doesn't feel like that's a formula that's going to work out for them, even when we likely see the same combination of duelists when we eventually get to Ascend here, Dust.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one for me because, like, obviously Fusion did really well within their space of Latin America, but they also did play the same team so often, 6 Karma, and so they didn't really get a lot of diversity of opposition to really test themselves against, in my opinion. I think that's what really kind of hurt them a little bit. Then they go into the LATAM finals against 9Z and they get blasted. Yeah. And when I was looking through the film of all of it, I was a little bit concerned about, hey, this is a team that likes to play a fast-paced style, but sometimes they look a bit disjointed. They look a little bit, you know, like they're just trying to have people make hero plays a little too much, and, you know, they're struggling. But then me and you, we caught them in the first round of playoffs, and they looked like they had completely turned things around. Yeah, I mean, they looked a lot more refined. They were on the same page. Their team play and spacing was so much better. You rarely, if ever, saw anyone kind of stranded by themselves. And then in this one, it was a little bit of a retreat back into a type of play that you don't want to see from them. You know, you want to see them, you know, like we saw them in the first round of playoffs, but it's just not the case. This was a little bit different, though, because I felt like they put themselves in a lot of advantageous situations. They just didn't close
Agreed.
them.
Yep, very much so the case. How many 1v1s did we have, or 1v2s did we have coming out from 9Z to get them a couple of key rounds? It felt like there was probably at least 2 or 3 that definitely turned the tides of touch when it came especially to the economy, because those were key gun rounds.
And in the meantime, their attacking style looked as good as ever, right?
Yeah,
I mean, again, they're a team that plays, again, also a faster-paced play style. They've always looked a little bit more coordinated, in my opinion, in comparison to Fusion. And they proved that yet again here today. Their utility usage was phenomenal.
Indeed the case. Well, it's enough thoughts from us. We'll bring Sierra and the rest of the desk back to give us theirs as we finish up map 1 and look towards Ascent for map 2.
Ooh, and thoughts I have as we come out of Split with a very strong 9Z win. Fusion, even just right out of the gate, we got the Neon, we got the Yoru, they got 8 first kills, but Tanner, things just falling apart all over the place for them.
Yeah, man, Fusion were looking like they were having a good time. They were all smiles, they were all laugh coming into the matchup, and then it also looked like they were maybe having a little bit too much fun on the server as well. I understand, and we saw it yesterday when they played the same comp on Ascent. It's scrappy. It's in your face. It's chaos. It was just handled so well by 9Z. They basically just kind of weathered the storm. And then when it came time to retake, when they're able to get their feet under them, 9Z just kind of swept through Fusion.
Yeah, especially too coming out from Fusion where we got to see the highlight moments. I don't really feel like it was necessarily tied to the composition at all, but more so just individual players having really good pop-off moments. So that's where I'm kind of like, as fun as the composition is, kind of falling apart, especially too, when we're looking at the consistency that 9Z was able to be coming out with here.
Yeah, 9Z I feel like kind of had a better handle on the game, only because I feel like Fusion, we saw them being able to play really together, focus on their timings a lot more, but then on this map, we didn't really get to see that as much.
And that is rough for Fusion, especially too. That is going to be the losing streak here in Ascension done with for 9Z. And then there's another thing that we have to be looking at, which is there has not been a single map 3 going on so far. And Tanner, we're talking about the fact that Fusion is swapping things up. Ascent is one they swap things up on as well, but are they swapping up a little bit too much to where they're losing where they could actually be taking those wins in comparison to a 9Z that's looking really strong on the day?
Yeah, I'm wondering, I would love a chance to speak with maybe the coach or Verdi or something, win or lose on this series, just to kind of figure out what this comp means to them, because they are making changes. They are playing something that seems a bit more loose and maybe to their style, or what's just going to allow their players to enjoy their time on the server. You know, losing while you're playing Yoru and just doing whatever you want might be a little more fun for Darker than, you know, losing and being in a rigid comp where you're not able to play the game that you want or enjoy the game, which at the end of the day, it is just that. I think the thing that stands out to me, seeing this comp now on Split, was they do some cool things. They had a cool play out towards mid between the Neon and the Yoru. The duelists were always timed very well together, playing off of some of the flashes from the Yoru. They had ideas, but the ideas were comp-specific ideas, not necessarily split-specific versus what we saw yesterday, you know, Ascent-specific ideas with this composition. So it just didn't seem the most drilled. It wasn't completely, I guess, fleshed out for this comp. I think going into map 2, though, Ascent, they do have map-specific ideas with this kind of quirky comp they bring.
Yeah, and a round that I quickly just want to highlight real quick was round 13, which was their pistol round. And they were able to kind of like take the site and play post plant. But the thing is, Rukoide hits such an insane shot here. But that's like kind of like the main weakness with this comp is that like you kind of spend all that util, the Euro flashes, the breach stun on taking the site that you don't really have anything for the post plant. So in the post plant, it's all about keeping those tight-knit crossfires, making sure you're really playing off each other, making sure you're really winning those aim duels. And unfortunately, it just didn't go the way of Fusion and went towards 9Z.
That was a crazy shot. Honestly, the jumping cherub shot coming out from Rukoide there, that was insane. So 9Z definitely so far looking and feeling confident on the day. But then I'm curious then, when we're looking at Ascent next, this one was banned out by Fusion in their last series. This is Fusion going to be picking up this pick. So I'm curious when we do see a Fusion that is building something out for this map, how this is going to go down.
Yeah, I mean, Fusion, they've played this map before against 00 Nation, and they were able to kind of beat them and sweep them off their feet a little, and I think that's kind of what they're counting on. But I'm hoping that they're able to kind of put themselves together and play off each other more. We didn't really see that during Split, and we're going to really need that from Ascent. We're going to need those like cleaner side takes. We're going to need better spacing and timings on those executes, and I think they'll be able to come out on top.
I think Fusion are also picking some maps that they've been able to see. We just recently watched the Guard beat 9Z on this map, and so Fusion are maybe coming into this one with their own comp, but then heavily looking to figure out, hey, how can this Neon Yoru comp counter-strat some of the things or reproduce some of the things that the Guard did well against 9Z?
We'll have to see how this one's going to be going down, as of course now down 1 in this series, 1 more loss, and Fusion is officially out of Ascension. We're going to be taking a short break. Be back here in just a few.